2024, People of Guam, Plaintiff Appellee v. Eligio Adriatico, Defendant Appellant. Appearing for the Defendant Appellant is Attorney Stephen P. Hattori. Appearing for the Plaintiff Appellee is Grant Olin. The panel consists of Chief Justice Robert J. Torres, Associate Justice F. Philip Carbolito, and Associate Justice Catherine Merriman.
All right, you've heard the panel has constituted. Briefing has been complete. There was not a reply brief that was filed. Is someone here from the Public Defender's Office? Mr. Hattori is not here. And on behalf of the people?
Is interim now.
Well, Grant Olin is the one scheduled, but he's not here either.
Yes, Your Honor. Christine Tenorio, I'm representing the people.
Okay. Oral argument in this case is scheduled for Tuesday, November 14th at 10 a.m. Is there any issue with the panel as constituted or the date and time of oral argument?
No objection to the panel as constituted, no objection to the time. We may be substituting Mr. Olin for Mr. Brown for this particular oral argument.
All right, just let us know in advance. And there's Mr. Hattori, who's now joined us. Mr. Hattori, the panel is constituted as myself, Justice Carbolito, and Justice Merriman. Oral arguments are scheduled for Tuesday at 10 a.m. Any objection to the panel as constituted or the date and time of oral argument? You're muted, Mr. Hattori.
Good morning, Chief Justice. We don't have a problem with the panel or the date and time of the oral arguments.
All right, thank you. I'm also going to ask, even though you're done, if you don't have another case, you can turn off your video and stay on in case there are any scheduling issues that we might want to come back to you on with other cases that are set for our November calendar.
Sure, Your Honor. I'll stand.
Thank you, Mr. Hattori. All right, will the clerk please call the next case?
Court case CBO 23-004, Takako V. Guthrie and Joseph A. Guthrie, individually and on behalf of all others similarly situated, petitioners appellant, the Superior Court of Guam, respondent FRE, and Board of Trustees of the Government of Guam Retirement Fund, will party and interest appellee. Appearing for petitioners appellants are Joseph A. Guthrie and Takako V. Guthrie, pro se. Appearing for respondent appellee, Board of Trustees of the Government of Guam Retirement Fund are Joanne L. Grimes and Vincent C. Camacho. Appearing for respondent appellee, Superior Court of Guam is Attorney Suzanne Santiago Hinkle. The panel consists of Justice Robert J. Torres, Associate Justice F. Philip Carbolito, Justice Pro Tempore John A. Manglonia.
All right, counsel, you've heard the panel as constituted. It's myself, Justice Carbolito, and Pro Tem John Manglonia. Justice Merriman has recused herself from this matter. Oral argument is set for the 15th. Briefing is complete and there are no pending motions. Is there any objection to the panel as constituted or the date and time of oral argument? Mr. Guthrie?
This is Sam Tecker for Mr. Guthrie, Chief Justice. I have no problem with the panel as constituted, but I think that Mr. Camacho and Mr. Guthrie have agreed to submit on the briefs.
Oh, okay, but wait and hear from Mr. Camacho. That's subject to the court's approval. The justices will discuss it and
yes, sir.
See if there's anything that we need to elucidate in oral argument. But all right. So, Mr. Have you entered an appearance for Mr. Guthrie in this matter, Mr. Tecker?
Not necessarily, Your Honor, but my name was on the calendar, so that's why I'm here.
So, all right. Well, so how it would, if there's no formal appearance entered, are you going to be entering an appearance for Mr. Guthrie?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So if you can make sure that your appearance gets filed in the next couple of days, maybe this week, at the end of this week.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Tecker. Mr. Camacho?
Good morning, Your Honor. The retirement fund does not oppose submitting the arguments on the brief. However, as the court recognized, you may have questions. And so if that is the case, the retirement fund is ready to proceed with oral arguments. However, the oral argument date set for November 15th, I will not be available from November 6th through the November 20th. So if we can ask the court to sort of reschedule those oral arguments for another date. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we have another matter that is scheduled on October 20th, and counsels for that case are present. That's Joaquin Arreola and Suzanne Hinkle, Gloria Rudolph, and Mr. Seville. So we could talk with them about potentially moving that to but it wouldn't work because you're gone from the 6th to the 20th, right? But I guess, will you be available on the 20th?
No, Your Honor, I'll actually be flying in that night.
Okay, so you will not be available on the 20th, and it would have to be on the following week. All right.
Sure.
All right. Just hang on and we'll see what happens, and then maybe we'll work with the clerk once the justices discuss whether or not we'll accept it on the briefs or would want to proceed with oral argument. Ms. Hinkle, do you have any position on submission on the briefs, oral argument, the date and time of the currently scheduled argument, as well as the panel has constituted?
No, Your Honor, we have no objections.
All right. All right, thank you. Will the clerk call the next case, please?
This is CRA 23-002, People of Guam Plaintiff Appellee v. Gilberto Florendo Custerbeck, defendant appellant. Appearing for the defendant appellant is Attorney Peter C. Perez. Appearing for plaintiff appellee is Attorney Christine Santos Tenorio. The panel consists of Chief Justice Robert J. Torrens, Associate Justice F. Carlino, and Associate Justice Catherine A. Merriman.
All right, Mr. Perez and Ms. Tenorio, you've heard the panel as constituted and the date and time of oral argument. Briefing has been complete. There are no pending motions. Are there any objection to the panel as constituted or to the date and time of oral argument?
No objection on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Perez, I'm sorry, both of you spoke at the first time. It's my mistake for not referring to one or the other at the beginning.
For appellant, Your Honor, we have no objection to the panel. I am going to be off island on November 16th and ask whether the court might be able to schedule us for the 13th, 14th, or 15th.
Well, you've heard Mr. Camacho is unavailable on the 15th. Ms. Tenorio, are you available on the 15th?
I have a jury selection on the 15th, Your Honor, and I was not going to object to the scheduling. I was just going to ask the Superior Court judge to let me go half day so that I can do the oral arguments. So I'm not available on the 15th.
You're not available on the 15th. Okay, I'll work with the clerk of court and we'll try to accommodate your schedule. Mr. Perez, when are you coming back?
I'll be back, I believe it's the evening of the 1st of December.
Okay, all right, so you'll need to come in earlier. What about on the 14th, Ms. Tenorio and Mr. Hattori? Would you be willing to switch and have your case on the 16th? The Adriatico case switch with the Custerbeck case?
We don't have any travel plans the entire November, so any date's fine for us.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hattori. Ms. Tenorio, on behalf of the people, I know it's not your case, but would you mind switching?
On behalf of the people, Your Honor, that date switch would work.
All right, so we will have People versus Adriatico on the 14th. I mean, excuse me, on the 16th, and People versus Custerbeck will be on the 14th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that works for you now, Mr. Perez, right?
Yes, Your Honor. That's at the same time?
Same time and same panel.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, will the clerk please call the next case?
23-004, People of Guam, Plaintiff Appellee, v. Joseph Mark Thomas Loomis Castro Jr., Defendant Appellant. Appearing for Defendant Appellant is Attorney William Benjamin Polo. Appearing for Plaintiff Appellee is Attorney Christine Santos Tenorio. The panel consists of Chief Justice Robert J. Torres, Associate Justice F. Philip Carmelito, and Associate Justice Catherine A. Merriman.
All right, Mr. Paul and Mr. Tenorio, you've heard the panel. Briefing's been complete. There are no pending motions. Oral argument is scheduled for November 17th at 10 a.m. Mr. Paul, any objection to the panel as constituted or the date and time of oral argument?
No, Chief Justice, I'm fine with both.
All right, and Ms. Tenorio?
No objection to the panel or to the date, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, will the clerk please call the next case?
WLP 23-002, Arthur U. Livingston, Petitioner v. Superior Court of Guam, Respondent, People of Guam, Real Party in Interest, and Masamoto Nadal, Real Party in Interest. Appearing for Petitioner is Attorney Joaquin C. Ariola. Appearing for Respondent is Attorney Suzanne P. Santiago Hinkle. Appearing for Real Party in Interest, People of Guam is Attorney Gloria Alvarado. Appearing for Real Party in Interest, Masamoto Nadal is Attorney G. Patrick Seville.
All right.
Justice Robert J. Torres, Associate Justice F. Philip Carmelito, and Associate Justice Catherine A. Merriman.
All right, Real Party in Interest Nadal's answer is due on October 27th. There are no pending motions. The court has scheduled this for oral argument on Monday, November 20th at 10 a.m. Is there any objection to the panel as constituted or to the date and time of the argument on the petition? Mr. Ariola?
Thank you and good morning, Your Honors. We have no objection to the constitution of the panel. Petitioner has no objection to the constitution of the panel. And we have no objection, and we are available for oral argument hearing on November 20th.
All right, thank you, Attorney Ariola. Attorney Hinkle for the respondent, Superior Court of Guam.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have no objection to the panel or the date and time of oral argument.
All right. I noticed that Ms. Rudolph is not here. Is someone else from the people going to appear on her behalf? Mr. Harley?
Yes, Your Honor. Will appear on her behalf.
All right. So is there any objection to the panel as constituted, and I know you're under the spot because you're not the attorney assigned to this. And if they have any objection to the panel or the date and time that the argument is scheduled, please have her file it in writing with the court.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Harley. All right. Will the if clerk please call the last case on the calendar?
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Oh, Mr. Seville, I forgot to ask you also on behalf of Nadeau. Easy to overlook you, Pat.
I know, Your Honor. Thank you. No objection, Your Honor, to the date or to the constitution of the panel.
Right,
thank you.
Ms. Ariola, you had a question? I'm sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you very much. On behalf of the petitioner, in light of the answer that was filed, as well as the pending answer of the co-defendant, petitioner would like to ask the court for a briefing schedule, and in order for the petitioner to respond to the legal arguments set forth in the answers filed to date, including the respondent Superior Court's answer, which is more like a opposition brief, as well as the people's answer to the petition that has been filed. We would like approximately a briefing schedule of approximately 1 week, 1 or 2 weeks to file a reply brief, and if the court will permit the government to file an answer to that.
Yeah,
depending on the court's.
You raise a good point, Mr.
Need for briefing.
Yeah.
In addition, Your Honor.
You raise a good point about a briefing schedule for this case. The pleadings, of course, was filed as an original writ with an answer. and the court will issue a briefing schedule. It'll be an expedited briefing schedule for us to meet the oral argument date that's scheduled on November 20th, but we'll proceed with issuing a briefing schedule no later than tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
And I saw Justice Merriman has joined us now. So if we can, Justice, are you there? I see her icon. She may have been having some issues with her computer. So will the clerk now then call the last case of the day, please?
Supreme Court Case CVA 22-017, Pacific Data Systems, Inc., Plaintiff Appellee, the Guam Department of Education, Defendant Appellee, and Teleguam Holdings, LLC, doing business as GTA, Intervenor, Defendant Appellant. Appearing for Intervenor, Defendant Appellant is Attorney Anita P. Ayola and William B. Brennan. Appearing for Plaintiff Appellee is Attorney Joshua D. Welsh. Appearing for Defendant Appellee is Attorney Christine Santos Tenorio. The panel consists of Chief Justice Robert J. Torres, Associate Justice F. Philip Carbolino, and Associate Justice Catherine A. Merriman.
All right, appellee's briefs are due on November 3rd. The reply brief is due November 13th, and there are no pending motions. But I will have to make a disclosure in this case, and I apologize. It's usually standard fare when the firm of Rosano, Walsh, and Torres PC appears in a matter, and I don't know why this case did not get a disclosure earlier. But my nephew, Edwin Torres, to whom I'm related within the third degree of consanguinity, is a partner with that firm, which represents the plaintiff appellee in this matter. You know, as a partner rather than an associate, he has an interest which could be affected by the outcome of the proceeding under 7 GCA 6105 B5C. And notwithstanding my relationship to Attorney Torres, I have sat on other cases involving the firm, and believe I can remain fair and impartial in hearing and deciding this case. However, pursuant to 7 GCA 6105 and canons 3E and 3F of the Code of Judicial Conduct, I'll recuse myself from sitting as a panel member on this case unless all the parties file a written agreement waiving this disqualification within 5 days of the filing of this hearing. And if a party does not agree to having me continue to sit in the proceeding, although you're not required to file objection, for the courtesy of the court, I would ask that you file a notice of non-waiver so that the court can act accordingly. And unless file a written agreement waiving disqualification, I shall be disqualified. Is there any question about that? I'm asking parties to file that in 5 days. A consent and while if you're not required to file an objection, file a non-waiver so the court could work on proceeding with Associate Justice Pro Tem if you do not consent to my continuing in this matter. Any questions on that process? That way you'll have time to be able to talk to your clients about the case. And I just realized it at the start of this status hearing that Mr. Walsh had entered an appearance on this case. And like I said, normally we do this very early, right with the filing of any appeal and entry of appearance by that firm. So I apologize that it happened just this morning. Any questions concerning this? If not, the court will stand adjourned. I know we have to try to accommodate if the justices will discuss whether we feel oral argument is important or will proceed in the Guthrie versus Retirement Board case. And if not, then there's no need to reschedule. If there is, we'll look to reschedule most likely Mr. Camacho and Mr. Tecker or Mr. Guthrie. It will likely happen later if we're not able to move something to the 21st. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. No problem with the 21st.
Yeah, it's very possible it will be on the 21st when Mr. Camacho comes back if oral argument is there, because the following week we have arguments scheduled, and then we're going to be in Saipan on the Pacific Judicial Conference.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, there being no further business before the court will now stand adjourned. Justice Merriman and Justice Carbolito, all right, we'll see you.